Hello everybody and welcome to your 10 minutes of Eve. Today we will continue and maybe finish the series about industry in Eve, as we have already covered most topics, even though not all of them, but the most important ones. And we will round up this picture with Tech 3 production. When it comes to complexity, Tech 3 production is comparable to Tech 2, but at least some skill requirements are even higher. And here you have to differentiate between manufacturing of tactical Tech 3 destroyers and strategic Tech 3 cruisers. On the right hand you see the Jackdaw as an example, the Caldari tactical destroyer, and as you can see, among other things, you need advanced small ship construction at 5 and Caldari starship engineering at 5 in order to build a Jackdaw from the respective blueprint copy. Tech 3 destroyers are more or less comparable to other tech versions. They require only one blueprint, input materials, and then you're done. Tech 3 strategic cruisers are a different animal. Here you have to produce the hull, as you can see at the top here, the Tengu Caldari strategic cruiser, which requires advanced medium ship construction at 5 and as well as Caldari starship engineering 5 like the Jackdaw. But Tech 3 cruisers are made up also of subcomponents, so you fit 4 subcomponents to each hull, and those in turn determine how many high, mid and low slots the cruiser has, so they determine the slot layout and bring some bonuses of their own, which makes them very versatile and strategic, there for the name. And to build the subcomponents you need slightly less skills, advanced medium ship construction only at 4, and the respective racial engineering skill at 4. But on the other hand, you need jury rigging at 5, and special skills, core subsystem technology, but in this case only at 1. But as you can see, this is dependent on other skills. So summing up skill-wise, Tech 3 production is quite demanding and of course only open to Omega clones. The way to obtain blueprint copies for the destroyers, for the hulls and for the subcomponents is also different from Tech 1 or Tech 2 production, as we will see in a minute. But this overview tells you that you will need to invest a lot of time if you want to be able to produce all subcomponents, all cruiser hulls and all destroyers of all 4 races, because you will have to skill advanced medium ship construction to 5, small ship construction to 5, and all 4 racial engineering skills to 5, as well as for the subcomponents core subsystem technology. And last but not least, the effectiveness of those subcomponents is also affected by skills. Let's see whether I can find them. Yeah, for example, the defensive subsystem technology will per skill level also increase the effectiveness of all defensive subsystems, so subsystems, not subcomponents. My mistake. Here's the same for the core subsystems, like the one I've shown here. So the result of the production in this case will be a Tengu core, in this case an augmented graviton reactor, and as you can see on the right hand, per skill level the respective bonuses will increase. To get a blueprint copy, you will have to do something called reverse engineering. You will find the item needed for that in the ancient relics subcategory of manufacture and research equipment, and from these relics you can only find in wormhole sleeper sites. You will be able to reverse engineer Tech 3 blueprint copies. The small hull sections here, those three, are required to reverse engineer tactical destroyer blueprint copies. The hull, intact hull section, the malfunctioning hull section, and the wrecked hull section will be required to reverse engineer cruiser hulls, and all the rest are required to reverse engineer subsystems, with, for example, armor resulting in defensive subsystems, core subsystems, no-brainer. This is propulsion subsystem, and this is an offensive subsystem. And the moniker intact, malfunctioning, or wrecked determines or influences both the chances of success of the reverse engineer as well as the quality of the resulting blueprint copy. So, for example, if we take a look at the small wrecked hull section and view it in industry, then you use the same tab as for invention. You use data cores. You can use a decryptor, but don't have to. And the result will be a 5-run Jackdaw blueprint copy with 36% of success with my skills and ME3 TE2. If we do the same with an intact hull section, you will see that the chance almost doubles. The quality stays the same, but we have 22 runs with these cores and this optimized augmented decryptor. So quite a difference in success chance and quality, and unsurprisingly also a big difference in price, which I cannot at the moment show you because I'm in nullsec at the moment and cannot do not have access to JITA pricing, but the pricing difference is quite substantial. So doing that in any station, which also allows you to invent Tech 2 blueprints, will result in the respective Tech 3 blueprint copy, and this one will require RAM modules as well as subcomponents, and these are Tech 3 specific for each race. Or are they? No, they are not specific for each race, they are specific to the respective blueprint. So there's a difference to Tech 2. There are much lesser blueprint copies for Tech 3 destroyers and cruisers, and they are also used for both of them. So maybe let's call up the market again. Yeah, subsystem components. If you buy those, roughly 20 I've encountered them, roughly 20 blueprints, research them. You will be able to build all Tech 3 ships, no matter whether they are destroyers or cruisers. They are twice as expensive as Tech 2 components, so each of them costs 10 million when bought from an NPC, but research time is quite short. So as you can see, I have researched all of them almost perfectly, but have not bought all of them, only those I need to build the Caldari versions, because I cannot fly and don't want to fly the other ones. So this brings us down to the last level. Each of those components again requires a lot of input materials, salvage materials, which can also be salvaged and found only from wormhole NPC opponents, namely sleepers. And we have reaction materials which require fullerenes, so wormhole gases, making Tech 3 production completely dependent on wormhole resources. So either you have access to a wormhole and can do the farming yourself, or you will rely on buying those on the markets. Readily assembled Tech 3 components are rare, even in Jita, and even if you can buy them, they're usually more expensive than buying the subcomponents and assembling the item yourself. But as always with advanced tech production, you will have to do the math yourself and should do that before you start on this endeavor. This sums up the topic of Tech 3 production. I hope you enjoyed this information and video, and I would be happy to see you again next time.